Welcome to today's session. So far in this project, if you have not been following, kindly go to the previous session so that you can catch up. Right now, this is the last video for the phase one. We'll be moving on to phase two in our next session. And your task today is to set up a local engineering environment from scratch. The same way every new engineer gets to set up their machine and build it. And you also be writing your first shell script today, which is going to automate system upgrade and updates. And when you are done, if this script you can run it on any new machine to create it. So there wouldn't be any new concepts in this session. This is like a recap of all that we've done so far. So part one is auditing your current environment. So you audit before building anything, you check what you already have. So we are going to be running the echo command. You already know how to set for that, checking the environment variables. We've already set a variable for this. So we run the echo command to verify that. Okay. Bin bash, then we run the environment variable. Okay. So these are all our environment variables. And then we also print our current aliases. Remember, we set up some aliases in our previous session. So yours might be different from mine. Remember, these two here are the ones that we set up in our previous session. And some of these ones as well. Yes, the error command, the CP command, and the CLS command. Now let's list our current directory. If you remember, we also set up an alias for ls-ma, where we set that up as ll. So it's a ls is list long form all files, so including the hidden files. So this is different from the ls. Like the ls just lists the name, but here it gives us more details, right? Including the hidden files. But if you notice right there are no hidden files. Okay. So now let's check our bashrc, which was updated in the previous session. We're just getting like the lay of the land before we go ahead and start doing stuff. So all these are like inquiry commands to verify our current state. So CAP is showing us what is inside this bashrc that has this. We are greeting. Remember, greet is like a pattern recognition, which anything that has views or heading shows that. So there it is. So that's what we saved in our bashrc file. And remember, the bashrc file is the file that splits the commands the environment variables to stick, even when you open a different terminal. It persists your environment variable that you set. Okay. So now let's move on to part two. So if your bashrc customization is missing, which is the file that just showed up now, let me run that command again. If this is missing, you need to go back to the previous session and do the step before going ahead, because we're going to be using some of the things that we did in the previous session. So each session is actually a build on to the next. Okay. So part two, now we're going to take any directory that do not exist. So if you have to run the T command, if you don't have the T command, you just go ahead and install it. Sorry about that. I ran the T command inside here instead of inside my view folder. That's why you have this kind of folder. That's why I have this one files. Okay, so we have inside the view of this folder, the three command, the 18 files in one directory, and this off, this is whatever what's going on. So yeah, so this is the root of this file, and this are the files and folders within. Okay. So your final workspace should look something like this, which is what we have here. It might not be exactly the same, depends on your arrangement, but it will be told that you have your session 01A, 01B, 01C, 02A, then 0, just in that order, alphabetically arranged. So create any directory that's missing. So you need to check and find out if there's any directory missing on your end, and then create this particular folder, because we are going to be using this folder. Right, that's where we're going to be putting our script. Let's go ahead and create that folder. The bin folder. So if we look at that, see right here. Go to here. Okay. So verify the full structure. These commands are supposed to actually type them out. Theory, muscle memory, remember that. So, okay. So these are all the files within the cloud frog sorted in order. Okay. So now we'll move on to part 3. So for part 3, we're going to be writing a script. Okay? Because remember we created a bin folder here, where the script we're going to write in now, we're going to save it inside this bin folder afterwards. That's why we need to do that. We are going to write a script called VOH setup.sh. This is the script that automates the workspace setup, which, so this is the content from that script. Basically updating packages, then upgrading the existing packages, and then installing new packages, this list of packages, which we will be using throughout this program. Okay, and then this is telling me that anyone that is already installed, skip or else. So this kind of like Python, mini Python statement. To say anyone that's already installed, move on, and then verify, you clean up, and then you verify the version. That's the end of it. So to create this script, we are going to cd, or rather, we create the script. Let's find out first. That's already in place. We do ls session 2e. Let's see what we have. So you only have this file, right? You only have this file. You need to empty, so it doesn't have the script. So that's why we're going ahead to create the script folder. You can copy that. Okay. Okay. So now, if you look back, here we have read me the thing I have script. Okay. So now we need to now inside, we need to create a file, the VOH setup file, the basic. That's where we're going to compute this. To do that, we're going to use nano or vim or vi, either one works. I know what, let's just cd which one to this. This any typing out. Now, if you run do ls, see that we have that file, start that file, save the script. Okay, so let's move on to part 4. We have the school. So now we need to make the file executable, right? So for permission, file permissions, we are going to get that in phase 2. We haven't done our permissions yet. But we need to run it, give this file that we just created, this particular file, we need to give it the execute permission. But let's see what kind of permission we currently have. So that is the file here. If you see right here, it doesn't have any permission. So we need to assign that. So if we do stage mode, finish, change modification plus sign x is assign it to this file. We run this command again. You see that right now, you see X here, out of the X, read, write, and execute. Or it was run. Okay? So now, with that execute permission, we are able to run the file, run the script. So run the script to do, say, bash, script name to do it. Why I'm not copying the whole part is because I'm already inside script. I'm already here. So I just need to run the DOH setup.sh and run. So it's going to be giving me an output because it's going to enter my studio password. So let's look for it to run. This was error will show you why. Fix it and go on. Okay, so setup complete after Brazilian wait. And setup is complete. So now we verify while it was running, we also showed that some of these packages already exist. So that should allow you to see that the screen. So now we test out to be sure that all the stuff we told it to update and install is all installed. Yeah. So which command which we use in the previous section, it's telling us where the file is coming from, which 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 so yeah, it means the tools have all been installed. Any of them doesn't install in yours, you could simply go to the app install dash y and you put the tool name, just like call with it, the URL, call command. So now we move on to part 6, where we add the bin directory to part. So remember we created the bin directory up there for our own script. So now we're going to add it to the part so that when we run script from there, we can run script from there by name. So we go ahead and open our bashrc file. So Hello, I'll see. Oh, sorry. This is massive. All right. Okay. So now we need to find the VOH Academy section. Scroll down. Okay. We need to add this one. Then save, .4, enter 20. Okay. So now we reload. um, We reload the bash files, new source, and the path. Bash file, C file. Once we run that, if we should echo this path variable, then it gives us what stage, right? Which is this. Now remember we assigned this path, right? So now we also need to copy the VOH setup into that particular folder, the bin folder. But when we set it up, we say that's where we're going to be copying our script. So to do that, we simply run. You can also copy this and paste and run it, but you need to also understand what you're doing, which is we are copying from right now, we're already here, script, right? This is the file we need to copy. So simply copy it into the bin. So this is the path we are going to copy now. So let's type it out. The B zero setup. So we're also going to give it execute right into you know, so I'm using the tab complete to complete that. So now we could test it out from anywhere. Let's see the into 10 folder and find out if what we set up in the bin is working. So 0 that's set up. Remember we already assigned a value to this variable, right? So let's see. There you go. There you go. So you could just run this on any new system and it's going to update just like the way we did using bash and then the scripting. So this is not, it's going to just run it quickly because you just run it a few seconds ago. So yeah, set up complete. So that didn't take more time. Okay. So now let's move on to, now you see that we are able to run it even from the 10 folder. We didn't run this from, we didn't run it from VOH folder. You can run it from anywhere because you already set a path to it. So once you type in this from any folder, it will run because you assigned it to path, the path variable up here, right? Because you assigned it here. Okay. So now let's move on to part 7. So for part 7, okay, so for part 7, we're going to write a session report. The session report is going to write up all that you have learned, which is very necessary for an in the cloud engineer because when you do things, maybe the next person has to take over, might not really know what to do. So documentation is very vital, and that is what we are going to be doing here. So to do that, we are going to be creating this file for session-report.md. Already we are in this location. So all you need to do is nano to come for and then you're going to write it out. Type it out yourself. Session 06, write the date, what you built, describe the workspace structure you created, what the script does in plain language, commands you use, what you found difficult, what you would do differently, and one thing you want to learn more about. Okay, and once you're done, so for me, I'm just gonna copy and paste that, but you need to write it out, please, or type it out. Yeah, you need to type it out, copy it in here, control O, enter, control H, and you're out. And that is that for this session and for this phase one. You have completed phase one. Congratulations. So, but first of all, kindly do all of these steps. Before moving on, confirm you can do all this without the notes. All this without the notes, without going through checking. It doesn't matter if you do it more than 5 times. Just make sure because the more you use it, the more you use the command, the more it becomes a norm for you. You now understand what to do. Practice, 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 and stay learning, of course. I'm going to link down below the GitHub repo where you can clone, fork, and run the same step, the same exact step. And of course, do like this video and subscribe. Thanks.